Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's weekly RV report for Friday, December 19th, 2025, last one of the year. Wow, what a crazy, frenetic year it has been. But the good news is we've made it through, folks, and brighter days, or really bright days, are ahead on the other side of this calendar as we go into 2026. So thank you for supporting us for this entire year. We'll talk about that more later at the end of this podcast. If you're new to the podcast, as always, please do like, subscribe, and share. It helps the channel grow and others to gain in the knowledge you're currently being afforded. As you know, I'm not a financial advisor, nor does this report constitute any financial advice, merely quality information for you to use for your own personal discernmental authority. As always, take everything that we share with you to the Lord and let Him either confirm, adjust, or correct your discernment accordingly. So we have a few things to cover regarding Iraq, so let's begin. First article we have here, you just give us a second here, a couple of key noteworthy articles for the week, namely this first one where you can see Prime Minister Sudani mentioned in this article that is commented on by fellow truther Majid. He is talking about with the dinar program, respect to that, we tend towards stability and fixing the exchange rate, not changing it every period. In other words, permanent stabilization. Now you'll note that they are still in the process of the 3-year budget upon which they agreed. They've certainly had enough meetings to death, but this is all for the narrative ultimately. But this is another sign of bringing this back onto the international stage vis-a-vis the dinar with permanent stabilization. Okay, now we go to the next article here, which we can see here. Mark Zavia, the special U.S. envoy to Iraq, is back in the news. Once again, this time meeting with here U.S. Congressman, let me see here, Joe Wilson and team, where they say we will make Iraq great again. Joe Wilson commenting directly on the post. This is as of a couple days ago. I'm grateful to host Mark Zavia in my office for an important meeting in Iraq. I'm excited to work with the special envoy to make Iraq great again. Sounds like America, great again. Here's the key phrase: free Iraq from Iran. They're giving you the ginned up narrative of the grave surrender that's incoming. There couldn't be anyone better to work on this issue for President Trump. And we will go to the next article here from said Majid, and this is regarding the finance minister, Mohammed Saleh, that you can see here in the article. He's confirming to proceed with preparing the 2026 budget. There is no liquidity crisis in Iraq. Now, here's the key phrase here, folks. Because the 2026 budget with the new rate, since the currency will be backed by gold, not oil, I'm emphasizing that for effect. Excuse me, CBI governor admitted that oil cannot cover anything. Well, because that's living on the Federal Reserve dollar and corruption. That's why. So it's all being defrocked. But here's the key thing I want you to take away, folks. This won't just be the case for Iraq. But remember, the world is awash with gold. We've discussed this on many, many podcasts, as you are well aware. Here's the common tie down or thread. You've got Iraq, you've got Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines, Zimbabwe, and a host of other nations, again, awash with gold. So this is part of the conversion, as President Trump is shifting us away from the central bank debt system to a parallel asset-backed, constitutionally sound money system with income instead of debt. All the other countries are juxtaposing likewise. Now here in the central bank, here's this article here. Reporting a 5.5% decline in currency issued during the third quarter of 2025, falling to 99,681 billion dinars, approximately 76.1 billion, from the 104,127 billion dinars, approximately 79.5 billion in the same period a year ago in 2024. I'm just going to go down so you can see the entire article here. So once again, this is a narrative shift from a year ago. What a difference a president makes, what a difference a year makes. So they're shifting away from their dinar. They're also going into the digital dinar for the new system, again, backed by precious metals. And this all ties into the QFS blockchain. So this is part of the integration process. Ultimately, that's kind of the key gist of a particular article. And in the other section, I want to show you this video here. Most of you are well aware of this from, excuse me, President Trump's speech a couple nights ago, whereby he addressed the nation. As you know, he gave 3 significant comms that we took away from it. Number one, he mentioned he's giving 1 million soldiers, dubbing it as a warrior dividend check before Christmas. which is about 5 days away from now, or actually be at about, but 6, I should say. He talked about the big, beautiful bill starting right away, January 1st. That's where the taxes are coming back. Dividend checks are starting to come back. A multitude of benefits for people contained within the bill. And then there's this I saved the best one for last because we thought it was fairly noteworthy, and hopefully you will agree. And so we're going to have you take a quick listen to this, and you can decide for yourself accordingly. Here we go.
America is respected, and our country is back stronger than ever before. We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen.
And that's really all you need to hear on that one, because that tells the entire tale. Obviously, there's a multitude of things that entails, but one of which is the reset. And he's got to get momentum, as we said many times before, in the first and second quarter, leading into the Victory Day of July 4th for the constitutional public to be established, as we've talked about many times before on shows like Sandy Mirecki, where we've covered that. He's going to have to get major momentum in the first quarter, leading to the second. That will carry over into the third. And then when he makes all the announcements about the freedom of the country in the third, that will carry into the midterm voting. So it's going to be quarter by quarter. So you're really going to see, for what we need to see, I believe, financially, the bulk of it in the first quarter next year. And that will just carry over with sort of a domino effect, is basically the point. On the precious metals commodity side, continues to be the proverbial talk of the town at the time of this broadcast. Based on pricing from the futures market, key denotation there, silver is currently trading at $65.47, gold at $4,367.70, crude oil trading down another dollar, $56.22, and the dollar index 98.53. You'll note in the crude oil pricing, you're seeing this concurrent downward trend of gas prices at the pump. As I said, even here in California, a friend of mine in Kentucky told me she saw it as little as $2.12. My understanding is that in some places in the country, maybe, I don't know, Oklahoma, some place like that, that's actually got their head on straight. It's under $2. But we should see by January gas prices well below $2, and this will continue on throughout next year. Pump is going to get lower and lower, food costs lower and lower, even with a inflation still transitory, meaning not moving. This will mitigate a lot of that with the prices coming down vis-a-vis through energy. And you know that we saw earlier this week, we saw silver at a high of $67.19. And of course, that's the paper price without all the premiums attached, but still. And you saw gold almost at $4,400. So there's no doubt that by next week and the remainder of this year, we're going to see it continue to go up. And 2026, all hands on deck for that, as President Trump, we anticipate, will revalue gold. We believe somewhere between $20,000 to $25,000, and silver should probably run concurrently $300 to $500 at least, possibly higher, but we will wait to see. So that does it for the last RV report for the year. Thank you for being loyal supporters to the channel, supporting our sponsors, supporting us. On behalf of myself and our entire team, we greatly appreciate you sticking with us all year long and in the past years. Your loyalty and your fervent determination allows us to do what we do. Without you, we would basically be just talking to ourselves. Whether it's one of you or I don't know, however many people are out there, we're happy to do it. We're honored to do it. And it's a calling to the best of our ability from the Lord that we do day in and day out. If you look at the Telegram, you know, we're constantly as a team working on it to try to find all the best sources of information for you to use. But we really appreciate you from the bottom of our hearts, and we hope that you feel that sincerely. So from all of us to all of you, have a very, very Merry Christmas in Christ, a Happy New Year. It's going to be a great one. I can assure you, for whatever that's worth, it's going to be fabulous. We're going to get some momentum in the rest of this year, which will carry over into next year. We'll be back on January 6th. Don't freak out if you don't see us for a couple weeks. Take some time off for yourself. Spend it with friends, family, with God, whatever you need to do. Get away from the overflow and minutiae of news. Take some time out and enjoy this sacred time, especially where we're headed, because you're going to need to get your mind rested for the overflow of activity that's going to be happening in the first quarter next year. Thank you so much. God bless you. And of course, if anything breaks, we'll get it out post haste. Have a great rest of the weekend, New Year, Christmas, and we'll see you early in January 2026. Take care. God bless. Goodbye for now.